Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins Collections. If you're a coin collector or just someone who's curious about rare and valuable coins, then this video is for you. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies in US history, the 1945 Lincoln cent. You might think, it's just a penny, but hold on, this little coin could be worth thousands of dollars. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your coin hunting journey, you're in for a treat. Let's start with the basics. The 1945 Lincoln cent is part of the iconic series of pennies that have featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln since 1909. This coin has a lot of significance in US history. The year 1945 was the end of World War II, and the Lincoln penny during this time was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Now, at first glance, this coin may seem like your average penny, but trust me, it has some rare features and errors that make it incredibly valuable to collectors. First, let's talk about the key features of the 1945 Lincoln cent. On the obverse, you'll find the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around the edges, the inscriptions read, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 1945. On the reverse, you'll see the familiar wheat ears, and the words, United States of America, e pluribus unum, and 1 cent on either side of the wheat stalks. The 1945 penny is a significant coin because it was minted during the final year of World War II. During this period, the U.S. Mint had to make some changes to the penny's composition due to wartime shortages of certain materials. For instance, the composition of the penny remained primarily copper, but the use of other metals like zinc and tin helped to balance out the resources available. Now, let's talk about what makes this particular penny so valuable. There are a few errors that could be lurking in your collection, and these are the types of mistakes that collectors absolutely love. These errors can significantly increase the value of the 1945 penny. The first one to look out for is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the coin die used to strike the design shifts during the minting process, causing the image to be imprinted twice on the coin. For the 1945 Lincoln cent, this error is most noticeable in the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," on the obverse side. You'll notice that these words appear blurry or doubled, which is a clear sign of the double die obverse error. This is a highly sought-after mistake among collectors, and finding one in good condition can make your 1945 penny worth a lot more than its face value. Another error to keep an eye out for is the die crack. This happens when the die used to strike the coin develops a crack. The crack often shows up as a raised line or ridge that runs across the coin's surface. In some cases, die cracks can appear along the rim, or even through the portrait of Lincoln. While die cracks aren't as rare as double dies, they can still add some value to the coin, especially if the crack is large or in an interesting location on the design. If you spot a noticeable die crack on your 1945 penny, you found a unique piece. Next up, we have the off-center strike. This is one of the most visually striking errors you can find on any coin. An off-center strike occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press. The result is that the design is not centered on the coin, causing part of the image to be cut off, or leaving part of the coin blank. For the 1945 penny, if you find one where the date or Lincoln's portrait is shifted, you've got a rare error that can add substantial value to your coin. So, why are these errors so valuable? The key reason is rarity. While the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies in 1945, these errors occurred during the minting process and weren't intended to be produced. Because of this, they are extremely rare, and collectors are constantly on the lookout for them. Coins with these errors are considered unique, which drives up their value, but it's not just the errors that make the 1945 Lincoln cent valuable. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in how much it's worth. If you have a 1945 penny that's in mint state, with no visible wear or damage, it can be worth a lot more than one that's been circulating for decades. Coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher, which means they are in almost perfect condition, tend to fetch the highest prices. If you can find a 1945 Lincoln cent with a rare error and in excellent condition, you could be holding onto a small fortune. Now, let's talk about how you can spot a valuable 1945 penny. The first thing you want to do is inspect the obverse side. Look carefully at the word liberty and the phrase, "In God we trust." If you notice any doubling or blurring of the letters, you could have a double die obverse error on your hands. This is one of the most valuable errors to look for on the 1945 penny. Next, check the edges of the coin for any signs of a die crack. If you see a raised line or ridge running through Lincoln's portrait or around the edge of the coin, you've found a die crack. While not as rare as double dies, die cracks can still add value, especially if they're prominent or occur in a unique place on the coin. Another thing to watch for is the off-center strike. Take a look at the alignment of the design. If the image is shifted to one side, or if part of the coin is blank, you could have found an off-center strike. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin could be. Once you've spotted an error or determined that your coin is in excellent condition, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Getting a coin graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, will give you an official assessment of its condition and value. Coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher have the best potential for value. Now, let's talk about the million-dollar question: how much is the 1945 Lincoln cent worth? Well, the value depends on the condition of the coin and the type of error it has. If you're lucky enough to find a double die obverse, off-center strike, or a coin in pristine condition, it could be worth anywhere from $3,800 to $50,000. That's right, $3,800 to $50,000. The price range varies, but it all comes down to the rarity of the error and how well the coin has been preserved. If you find a rare error in great condition, especially a double die obverse or off-center strike, you could have a coin that's worth significantly more than you ever imagined. So, do you have a 1945 Lincoln cent in your collection? Or maybe you found one recently that you think might be valuable? Drop a comment below and let me know what you've discovered. I'd love to hear your stories and see what kind of rare coins you're hunting for. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies you can find in circulation, the 1950 Lincoln cent. If you're a coin enthusiast, a collector, or just someone who's curious about rare coins, then this video is for you. The 1950 Lincoln penny may seem like a simple, everyday coin, but trust me, it's far from ordinary. This penny has some surprising features and errors that can make it worth thousands of dollars. So, whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned pro, get ready to learn everything you need to know about the 1950 Lincoln cent. Let's start with the basics. The 1950 Lincoln cent is part of the long-running series of pennies that have featured the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features Lincoln's profile, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 1950. The reverse side shows the classic wheat ears design, with the words, "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and "1 cent," on either side of the wheat stalks. It's a familiar design that has become a staple in U.S. coinage. The 1950 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was typical of pennies at the time. It has a weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. But here's where it gets interesting: the 1950 Lincoln cent isn't just another typical penny. There are a few key features, errors, and other factors that can make this coin incredibly valuable to collectors. One of the key features of the 1950 penny is the mintage. The U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion 1950 Lincoln cents, making it a relatively common coin in terms of sheer quantity. But what makes the 1950 penny special is the rarity of certain error varieties and the condition of the coin. You see, while many of these pennies may look like your typical worn-out, circulated coins, there are certain errors that can make a 1950 penny much more valuable than its face value. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1950 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment, causing the design to be imprinted twice on the coin. For the 1950 penny, this error can be found in the word Liberty and the date, 1950, on the obverse side. If you look closely, you might notice that the letters and numbers appear blurry or doubled. This is a clear sign of the double die obverse error, and it's one of the most valuable mistakes a 1950 penny can have. Another error to look out for is the repunched mint mark. This error happens when the mint mark on the coin, the letter D for Denver or S for San Francisco, is punched into the die multiple times. As a result, you'll see a slight doubling or shifting of the mint mark. If you spot a repunched mint mark on your 1950 penny, it could be a rare find, and collectors are always on the lookout for these kinds of errors. You also need to watch for off-center strikes. These occur when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, causing the design to be shifted to one side of the coin. The result is that part of the image might be cut off or left blank. An off-center strike can add significant value to your coin, especially if the misalignment is extreme. So, if you find a 1950 penny with part of the design missing, be sure to inspect it closely. So, why is the 1950 Lincoln cent valuable, even though it was produced in such large quantities? The main reason for its value lies in the rarity of certain errors and condition. While many 1950 pennies are relatively common and only worth a few cents, those with minting errors or in high-grade condition can command huge premiums. Collectors are always looking for coins with rare mistakes or those that are well preserved. When a coin is in great shape, and especially if it has a rare error, it becomes a highly desirable item for collectors, driving up its value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1950 Lincoln cent with a double die obverse or a repunched mint mark, or if you have one in exceptional condition, you could be holding onto a coin worth significantly more than its face value. A coin with these rare errors or in high grade can be worth thousands of dollars, depending on the specific variety and condition. Now that we've talked about the key features and errors to look for, let's discuss how to spot a valuable 1950 penny. First, start by inspecting the obverse of the coin, that's the side with Lincoln's portrait. Carefully look at the word Liberty and the year 1950. If you see any doubling or blurriness in the letters or numbers, you could have a double die obverse. This is one of the most sought-after errors, so it's definitely something you want to check for. Next, examine the mint mark. Look closely at the letter D or S on the reverse of the coin, near the bottom right. If the mint mark looks like it's been struck more than once, or if it appears slightly doubled or shifted, you may have a repunched mint mark error. This is another valuable variety that collectors will pay a premium for. Finally, don't forget to check for an off-center strike. This error is easy to spot if part of the design is missing or if the image is shifted to one side of the coin. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can be. Once you've found a 1950 penny with one of these errors, or if your penny is in excellent condition, the next step is to get it professionally graded. A coin's grade can dramatically affect its value, so it's a good idea to have your coin assessed by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. Coins graded as MS-65 or higher, meaning they are in mint condition with no visible wear or damage, can fetch much higher prices than those in lower grades. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much can a 1950 Lincoln cent be worth? Well, if you find a 1950 penny with a rare error like a double die obverse or repunched mint mark, or if your penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $3,800 to $48,000. That's right, $3,800 to $48,000. The price really depends on the rarity of the error and the overall condition of the coin. If it's in excellent shape and has a rare error, the value can climb to the higher end of the range. So, do you have a 1950 Lincoln cent sitting in your collection? Or maybe you've come across one recently. Be sure to check it closely for those key features and errors. If you find a rare variety, you could have a coin worth far more than its face value. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a valuable penny, or are you out hunting for rare coins? Drop a comment below and let me know what you've discovered. Today, we've got an incredible piece of U.S. history to talk about: the 1957 Lincoln cent. You might look at it and think, it's just a penny, but hold on to your hats because this little coin can actually be worth thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. So, whether you're a collector or just someone curious about valuable coins, this video is going to give you all the information you need to spot a potentially valuable 1957 penny. The 1957 Lincoln cent is part of the long-running series of pennies that have featured the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday, this design has become one of the most recognizable symbols in American coinage. On the obverse, front, of the coin, you'll see Lincoln's profile, along with the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the year, 1957. On the reverse, you'll find the classic wheat ears design, which has been part of the penny since 1909. The words, United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent, are also engraved on the reverse side. The 1957 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition was typical for pennies produced during this time period. However, what really makes this coin stand out is the errors that occurred during the minting process, which makes it incredibly desirable for collectors. While the 1957 penny was produced in huge quantities, the coins with specific flaws and errors are the ones that really catch the eyes of numismatists, coin experts, and collectors alike. Now, let's dive into what makes the 1957 penny so special. First off, we need to talk about the mint mark. A lot of people don't realize that the mint mark on a coin can drastically affect its value. The 1957 Lincoln cent was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each of these locations used a different mint mark to identify the coin's origin. The 1957 penny minted in Philadelphia doesn't have a mint mark at all, while the ones minted in Denver feature a D, and the San Francisco pennies have an S. But here's where things get exciting. While the 1957 penny may seem like just another ordinary coin at first glance, there are several key errors that could make your penny worth far more than face value. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design to appear doubled on the obverse side. This error can sometimes be spotted in the word Liberty or the phrase, In God We Trust. If you look closely and notice that the letters are doubled, then you've got a rare find on your hands. A double die obverse is a highly prized error among collectors, and it can significantly increase the value of your 1957 penny. Another important error to look out for is the repunched mint mark. This error happens when the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was made, is punched into the die multiple times, causing the mint mark to appear slightly doubled or shifted. For a 1957 penny, a repunched mint mark is something you'll want to keep an eye out for. It's especially valuable on the 1957 D, Denver, and S, San Francisco, minted pennies. If you spot a mint mark that seems a little bit off or appears more than once, you could have a real treasure on your hands. Let's not forget about the off-center strikes either. This is when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the coin's design to be cut off. This can create a really cool, unique appearance, and if you find an off-center 1957 penny, it could be worth more than you think. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin is likely to be. A coin with a dramatic off-center error could fetch a pretty penny, pun intended, especially if it's in good condition. Now, why is the 1957 Lincoln cent so valuable, even though millions were produced? The answer lies in the rarity of the errors and the condition of the coin. Coins with errors like the double die obverse, repunched mint mark, or off-center strikes are incredibly rare, and collectors are always on the lookout for these types of coins. In addition, the condition of the coin matters greatly. A well-preserved penny from 1957 in mint state condition is worth much more than a coin that has been heavily circulated or damaged. When a coin is in near-perfect condition with no visible wear, it becomes much more valuable to collectors. If you happen to come across a 1957 Lincoln penny, here's how you can spot if it's worth more than its face value. First, inspect the obverse, front, of the coin carefully. Check the letters "In Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If any of the letters appear doubled or blurry, it could be a double die obverse, which is one of the most valuable errors you can find on a 1957 penny. Next, take a close look at the mint mark. If the penny has a D or S mint mark, check carefully for any signs of a repunched mint mark. This could be a small doubling or shifting of the mint mark. If you spot it, you found a rare error that collectors would love to get their hands on. Finally, check for off-center strikes. These are usually pretty easy to spot. If part of the coin's design is missing or shifted, then you found an off-center strike. The more extreme the error, the more valuable the coin is. Once you've checked for errors, it's time to get your coin professionally graded. A coin's grade will determine its value, and having it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC is the best way to know exactly what it's worth. Coins that are graded MS-65 or higher are generally considered to be in mint condition, and these can be worth a lot more than lower-grade coins. So, how much can a 1957 Lincoln cent be worth? If you have a 1957 penny with a double die obverse or a repunched mint mark, or if it's in near-perfect condition, it could be worth anywhere from $3,800 to $53,000. Yes, you heard that right, $3,800 to $53,000. The value of the coin depends on the rarity of the error and its condition, but if you have a well-preserved error coin, you could be looking at a pretty serious payout. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare pennies, be sure to hold on to it and get it graded because it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you found a 1957 Lincoln penny with an error or in great condition? Or maybe you've just started collecting coins and are on the lookout for your next treasure? Let me know in the comments below. Today, because we're diving into the world of the 1949 Lincoln penny. This little coin might seem like just another 1-cent piece, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Believe it or not, a 1949 Lincoln penny could be worth thousands of dollars, and in today's video, we're going to show you why. We'll walk through the key features, some rare errors you'll want to look out for, and why this penny is so valuable to collectors. So if you've got a 1949 penny lying around, it might just be time to take a closer look. Let's start with the basics. The 1949 Lincoln cent is part of the series of pennies featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln has been gracing the penny since 1909, and his image continues to be one of the most recognized features in U.S. coinage. The obverse, front, of the coin shows Lincoln's profile, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and, of course, the year, 1949. On the reverse, you'll see the iconic wheat ears design, which has been used for pennies since the early 1900s. The words, "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and "1 cent," are engraved on the reverse side, surrounding two stalks of wheat. The 1949 penny was minted in huge quantities, with over 1 billion of them produced that year. Most of these pennies were made with copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It's a familiar recipe for pennies from this era, but don't be fooled, despite the large mintage, this particular coin can still be extremely valuable depending on certain factors. Now, what makes the 1949 Lincoln penny so interesting to collectors? The key here is the errors and the condition of the coin. Just because millions of these pennies were made doesn't mean they're all worth the same. What you need to keep an eye out for are the rare error varieties that can make a 1949 penny extremely valuable. One of the most notable errors to look for is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly, resulting in a doubling effect on certain areas of the coin. If you look closely at the 1949 penny, particularly in the word "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," you may see some noticeable doubling. The letters may look blurry, shifted, or have a shadow behind them. That's a clear indication of the double die obverse error. This is one of the most coveted mistakes for collectors, and if you find one, your coin could be worth significantly more than its face value. Another error to keep an eye out for is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark on the coin, which tells you where it was produced, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco, is struck more than once. If you examine the mint mark closely and notice any doubling or misalignment, that's a repunched mint mark. This error is especially valuable if it appears on a Denver or San Francisco minted 1949 penny, and collectors love to get their hands on these kinds of coins because they are rare and hard to come by. You might also encounter the off-center strike on some 1949 pennies. This is when the coin is improperly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be cut off or pushed to the edge of the coin. Off-center strikes are always fascinating to collectors because they give each coin a unique appearance. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin is. So if you spot a 1949 penny with part of the design missing or shifted, it's definitely something you want to hang on to. Now, here's why the 1949 Lincoln cent is considered valuable despite the large mintage. It all comes down to the rarity of the errors and the condition of the coin. A coin's value increases exponentially if it has a rare error and is in good condition. Coins that are in mint condition with no visible wear are highly sought after, and they can fetch a premium price. But when a coin also has a rare mistake like the double die obverse, repunched mint mark, or off-center strike, the price tag can really skyrocket. You see, many of the 1949 pennies that were minted have been heavily circulated and are in worn or damaged condition. But when you find one with a double die obverse error or a repunched mint mark, especially if it's in mint or near mint condition, you've got a coin that collectors will pay big money for. So, how can you spot a valuable 1949 Lincoln penny? Let's break it down. First, start by inspecting the obverse, front, of the coin. Look carefully at the word liberty and the phrase, "In God we trust." If you notice any doubling or blurriness in the letters, that's a sign you may have a double die obverse coin. This is one of the most valuable errors a 1949 penny can have. Next, check the mint mark on the reverse of the coin. If you see a mint mark, either D or S, look closely for any signs of doubling or misalignment. A repunched mint mark error can increase the value of your coin, so make sure to inspect it carefully. Lastly, don't forget to check for off-center strikes. These can be a little trickier to spot, but if part of the coin's design is missing or shifted to one side, you may have an off-center strike on your hands. These coins are always in demand because of their unique look, so if you find one, it could be worth more than you think. Once you've identified a potential error, the next step is to get the coin professionally graded. The value of a coin can vary greatly depending on its grade. Coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they have no visible wear or damage, are worth far more than coins that are worn or damaged. Having your coin graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC is a great way to ensure you're getting an accurate assessment of its value. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much can a 1949 Lincoln cent be worth? If you're lucky enough to find a 1949 penny with a double die obverse, repunched mint mark, or a well-preserved off-center strike, you could be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $4,300 to $64,000. Yes, you heard that right, $4,300 to $64,000. The exact value depends on the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and how extreme the error is. If you find a 1949 penny with any of these features, be sure to hold on to it and have it graded because it could be worth far more than its face value. And even if your coin doesn't have any errors, it can still be valuable if it's in excellent condition. I'd love to hear from you. Have you found a 1949 Lincoln penny with a rare error, or are you still on the lookout for one? Let me know in the comments below. Today's video is definitely for you. We're diving into a classic coin that you might not think much about at first glance, but when you take a closer look, it could be worth a small fortune. That's right, we're talking about the 1953 Lincoln cent. A penny that could be sitting in your collection right now might just be one of the most valuable coins you own. So, let's break down everything you need to know about the 1953 Lincoln penny, including what makes it so valuable, what errors to look for, and why this penny might be worth thousands of dollars. Let's start with the basics. The 1953 Lincoln cent is part of the long-running series featuring the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln has been on the penny since 1909, making this one of the most iconic and recognizable coins in American history. The 1953 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was the standard composition for pennies back in the mid-1900s. On the obverse, front, side, you'll find Lincoln's profile, along with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year, 1953. On the reverse, back, side, the design features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots, along with the words, "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and 1 cent. Now, while this might sound like just another standard penny, the 1953 Lincoln cent is actually a coin that has caught the attention of collectors over the years, and it all has to do with the errors that occurred during the minting process. While millions of these pennies were produced, not all of them were minted perfectly. These errors make the 1953 penny stand out and can significantly increase its value. So, what should you be looking for when examining a 1953 Lincoln penny? Let's talk about the most common errors that can make this coin highly valuable. The double die obverse error is one of the most desirable and well-known mistakes that can occur during the minting process, and it's a key feature to watch out for in the 1953 penny. When a coin die is misaligned or the design is struck more than once, it can cause the design to appear doubled in certain areas. For the 1953 Lincoln penny, you may notice this doubling in the word "liberty" or the phrase, "In God We Trust," on the obverse. If you carefully examine these areas and see any signs of double images or blurry lettering, you could be holding a double die obverse penny, which is a rare and valuable error. Another error you'll want to look for is the repunched mint mark. The mint mark on a coin tells you where it was minted, and for the 1953 penny, it could either have a D for Denver or S for San Francisco. A repunched mint mark happens when the mint mark is struck more than once during the production process, causing it to appear doubled or slightly off-center. This is a common error found in many coins from this era, and if you spot a repunched mint mark on a 1953 penny, it can be worth significantly more than a regular, unpunched mint mark penny. You also want to keep an eye out for off-center strikes. This happens when a coin is not aligned properly in the press, causing part of the coin's design to be cut off or appear shifted to one side. An off-center strike gives a penny a unique look and can add significant value. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin is likely to be. If you come across a 1953 penny with a dramatic off-center strike, be sure to hold onto it because it could be worth a lot more than its face value. And here's the thing, while there were millions of 1953 pennies minted, the ones that stand out with these errors are far rarer than you might think. The more perfect or extreme the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. So, how much can a 1953 Lincoln cent be worth? Well, the value of a coin is determined by a combination of factors: the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and how well the coin has been preserved over the years. For example, if you have a 1953 Lincoln penny with a double die obverse or a repunched mint mark, and it's in good condition or better, it could easily be worth between $4,000 and $60,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $4,000 to $60,000. The more severe the error and the better the condition of the coin, the higher its potential value will be. The double die obverse error, in particular, is highly sought after by collectors. Coins with this error are rare and in high demand, so they can command a hefty price in the market. Similarly, a repunched mint mark error or a well-preserved off-center strike can also send the price of your 1953 penny soaring, especially if it's graded in mint state. So, what's the next step if you think you found one of these valuable pennies? First, make sure to examine the coin carefully. Look for doubling in the letters of "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" to check for the double die obverse. Check the mint mark on the reverse to see if it appears to be repunched. And if you spot an off-center strike, take note of how far the design has been shifted. If the coin shows any of these signs, you may have just found a rare and valuable 1953 Lincoln penny. Once you've identified a potential error, the next step is to get the coin professionally graded. Professional grading will help determine the coin's condition and its actual market value. A high-grade coin, especially one with a rare error, can bring in a significant amount of money. Make sure to have your coin graded by a reputable service, like PCGS or NGC, to get an accurate evaluation of its worth. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you come across a 1953 Lincoln penny with a rare error, or do you have any cool finds you want to share? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content on rare and valuable coins. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting.